Today is Tuesday, the 15th day of July 2025, and on our newspaper headlines this morning, we'll be starting with the Blueprint newspaper. And on the Blueprint, we have Africans will develop Africa, Dangote tells global CEOs. And on the sports, we have ex-Super Eagles defender Kadiri Ikana critically ill, says Odebami. I was admitted in same hospital with Buhari before he died. This is from Abdusalami, with riders tight security in Daura as president is buried today. Akume heads Federal Funeral Committee. FG Northwest governors declare public holiday. FCT workers suspend strike after 3 months. We have focused on governance, forget probing Obaseki, Wike tells Okpebholo. With rider begs Oshomole for humiliating him over ex-Edo governor. All right, now we're moving on to the Daily Independent newspaper. And on the headlines of this newspaper, we have non-certification of NTAT's $21 million B737NG simulator 5 years after leads to capital flights. 7 years after, low enrollment cripples Nigeria's micro pension plan. All right, we have 2025 budget. With debt burden, FG taps into local markets to fund deficits. Experts warn borrowing poses broader risks to economy. Nigeria's inflation projected to decline 21.4% in May. That is on page 6 of the Daily Independent. We also have PIA attracts $16 billion investment, drives sector growth. This is from the Reps Deputy Speaker. Shetima leads FG's delegation to Buhari's family in London. World leaders mourn Buhari. Tinubu raises 17-member committee for Buhari's burial. And we have tributes continue to pour in for Buhari with riders. Former president for burial in Daura today. APC shuts National Secretariat to mourn him. FG declares today public holiday for Buhari. Postpones special FEC meeting for funeral. ADC in 3 days mourning suspends activities. All right, and that is it for the Daily Independent. And now to Daily Trust newspaper. On Daily Trust, we have how Lagos LG poll was won and lost. 4 killed, many injured in Kano building collapse. Succession move begins after Awujale's burial. We have Daura set for Buhari's burial as Nigeria mourns. And residents flee as bandits attack Niger communities, kill 6, abduct over 20. All right, and now over to the Daily Monitor newspaper. On the Daily Monitor, we have America cuts Ugandan's visa stay period to 3 months. Constitutional Court upholds polygamy. Incumbent MPs face it rough in joint campaigns. And finally, babies' hepatitis B vaccination starts in August. All right, now to the Vanguard newspaper. On the Vanguard, we have Dangote plans seaports to enhance export of fertilizers, others. You can find that on page 19. All right, Buhari, Tinubu sets up 9-man committee, burial holds today. With riders, declares today public holiday. Shetima pays condolence visit to Buhari's family in London. I was with Buhari in same hospital, says Abdusalami Abubakar. Presidency postpones special FEC. NAS suspends all legislative activities till July 22nd. Khan, Amechi, Oshomole, Saraki, Marwa, Olawepo, Hashim, others pay tributes. Buhari left indelible prints on page of national history. This is from NSCIA. Why I support ADC's coalition but remain in PDP, says Lamido. More tributes as Awujale is buried in Ijebu-Ode. All right, we have visa overstay. US threatens Nigerians with deportation, permanent travel ban. All right, and that is it on the Vanguard newspaper. And now we're moving over to the Nigerian Tribune. We have Awujale Ijebode stands still as Oba Adetono is buried, with rider Abiodun, Sanwo-Olu, Osoba, Daniel, Dangote, others in attendance. All set for Buhari's burial, Tinubu to receive body in Katsina, with rider body to arrive by noon, interment set for 2 p.m. today. FG declares public holiday. Condolence registers to be opened in MDAs, ICC, Nigerian embassies, missions abroad. NAS suspends legislative activities for 1 week. This is on page 4. All right, we have the Patriots shift Constitutional Summit to Wednesday to honor Buhari Awujale. Adeleke to Arebe Shola, Osun people have not forgotten your records as governor. That is it for the Nigerian Tribune, and now to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, we have soldiers bar traditionalists from Awujale's Muslim funeral. Osibanjo governors Osoba, Daniel, Dangote grace Awujale's burial. Fushembua House poised for throne as Ijebu awaits new Awujale. We have Natasha fires back at Akpabio over reinstatement challenge. That is on page 30. All right, Daura King's men, associates reflect on Buhari's final months. With riders, state burial begins in Abuja today, interments to follow in Katsina. I was hospitalized in same London facility as Buhari. This is from Abdul Salami. Jonathan visits Aisha in London as Amoshun Lawan, others arrive Daura. Tinubu appoints Akume, Ribadu, others to burial committee. FG delegation visits Aisha, Maman, Daura, Abdusalami in London. All right, still on the Punch, Naira rebounds to 4-month high trades, 1,518 Naira per dollar. Ogun workers begin strike over 82 billion Naira pension arrears. You can find that on page 20. And then finally on the Punch newspaper, we have 2027, Adeleke attacks Arebe Shola over plan to oust governor. That is on page 29. You can find all of this on the Punch newspaper. And now to the Guardian newspaper. On the headlines here we have gunmen kill 2 evangelists in Fresh Plateau attack. Akpabio appeals against court order for Natasha's recall. All right, we have calls for metering deregulation intensify as experts warn of widening gap. Pay TV struggles as more Nigerians opt for mobile streaming services. That is on page 6. All right, we have Buhari gets state funeral as critics fault National Assembly's week-long tributes. Osibanjo, Dangote, Abiodun, others bid Awujale farewell. US threatens visa validity defaulters with deportation, lifetime ban. Buhari represented unity, equity, but was misunderstood. That is on the news page 4. We have tight security in Daura as Katsina awaits Buhari's remains. Now, finally, on the Guardian newspaper, we have over 2 million Abuja indigenous people risk extinction, CSO tells UN. All right, that is it on the Guardian newspaper and on our newspaper headlines this morning. And now it's time for our review with Chris Maduka this morning. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Uche. Good morning, the world, and all the good people of Nigeria and the global citizens watching us.
Yes.
It's another day.
It's another day.
Yes, with a lot of hot headlines on Nigerian newspapers.
Yes.
I suppose it's same all over the world. So fire the fire.
All right. Now we have Tinubu creating a committee, sets up a 9-man committee. That's on the Vanguard. Tinubu sets up 9-man committee for the burial that is holding today.
Yes. And Somebody somewhere was saying for a strong Muslim like our late head of state, former head of state, General Muhammad Buhari. Normally, if I'm right, and I'm sure a lot of people know that a strong Muslim, you die, you are buried immediately. Every other thing will become history. Why are we bent on committees to bury Buhari? Because I'm sure money will exchange hands. Is it after burying him today? Because if it's other people of other faith like Christians who can postpone and have 1 month to plan for burial. If you say you have committees that are planning, it becomes logical. Somebody is being buried, brought in from London hospital as cargo, evidently heading to burial sites, and you're forming committees. I've always said the federal government and the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, he sees clearer from wherever the top, where he is, the view is clearer. I'm talking from that's, trying to make out what that decision means. But the president may have seen. But if you ask me, the man we are burying is not given to flamboyancy. In fact, when he took over as head of state, he said he had only about 150 cows or something as the only thing he declared as an asset. Was he up to? And no house anywhere to show for it. And he's a man who lived, within his means. He did not. Nobody has had that. We had that Buhari is living flamboyant life, living in excess as somebody of that level. So if we go into a lot of expenses burying him, it might be working against his spirit. So Nigerians should go and cry for themselves and leave Buhari to go.
And also, we also seen that NAS has suspended their legislative activities for a whole week.
If NAS said they suspend the activities for few days, and the public holiday that the federal government declared for today to honor our dear head of state who died, these are all in line. He deserved them. But for a whole week of National Assembly being away, there are certain things that happen when I talk to people. I say, if Buhari is here, will he approve this? If he's alive and you tell him that you're going to, during his tenure as president, how many people died and the National Assembly closed for a week? It will give a real honor to people who deserve it, but not to close nation for 1 week. What it means in Nigeria is down for 1 week. If we are flying a flag at half-mast to honor him for 1 week, even if it's 3 months, still okay. But we cannot stop the living from living because of the dead. And I'm sure he's not that kind of person who will want Nigeria to close down because he died. He would have loved that Nigeria, he fought so much to keep, find his way to continue even in his absence. And that, I suppose, is what will make his spirit to rest in peace. Thank you, Chair.
All right, and now, while all this is going on, we still have issues of insecurity. Residents on the Daily Trust, we are seeing residents flee as bandits attack Niger communities, kill 6 and abduct over 20.
This is part of the reason why I'm saying, why is National Assembly going on 7 days? I'm sure some of them that will find themselves to Dara, they will find all the security they mop up to follow them there. They will pay respect to the fallen hero, and then the security will take them back to Abuja. Everything that's happening in Nigeria, you're on your own. That is why I'm against National Assembly closing down for 1 week. Because these are the things they should have said. Nigeria is on the blinks now. Nigeria is at the risk of either implosion or explosion. That the head of state who died has sacrificed all he could, and we should everything we do in line with his spirit because of his kind of person. Because most people that are doing this and talking about, nobody has taken time to study Muhammadu Buhari. So a lot of people are talking from different points of view, and it just means that we're talking. But when the chips are down, most of those people are at the National Assembly. I can't tell you they know who they are talking about. And that's why we can close down for 7 weeks. Why security, people in Niger State are being taken like, hunted like rabbits. And some abducted, some killed. And they are at home. So if this continues in certain states in Nigeria, before National Assembly resume, before Nigeria will come back on their feet after burying, they will now have about 1 million people missing to look for or to bury. It's really, really, really a complex situation.
Yes, a very complex situation at that. And on the Daily Independent, we have still on the 2025 budget with debt burden, FG is tapping into local markets to fund deficit. And experts are warning against borrowing, posing, broader risks to our economy.
Our debt management in Nigeria is the bane and will remain the bane of a nation like Nigeria. I tell you, if we continue the way we are going, my greatest problem is that the 40 generation of yet unborn children in Nigeria are debtors. They will find themselves stooping across shit they did not shit. And that is very wrong. The leaders and people in position of authority of today should be very careful about how we manage the debt. Let them stop, even if they have to call a state of emergency. Bring back our debt profile. Let there be 1 week of brainstorming. Let's find out what we have borrowed. What do we borrow it for? What do we use it for? What was the result? We do not borrow for borrowing's sake. We don't borrow to service status. We don't borrow to pay debt, to pay salaries. We don't borrow to maintain mansions and like all those nonsense. We should borrow for production so that money should be produced back to pay back the debt. Until Nigeria finds to do that, this is what will happen. Because what we find that most people in the position of authority to take these decisions find that the one they get to, either if they're not taxing Nigeria by adding money on fuel. So because if Nigeria is bringing 6 million liters of fuel a day, and you add about 5 naira on it and times it, the liters we consume in a day, that's ready cash. If they're not doing that, they are thinking about IMF, World Bank, who are always ready to give you. It's not to borrow, it's to pay back. So we should be careful of what we borrow, because whatever happens, my friend told me, Onyugo no chog. Whenever somebody who is owing somebody will talk and fight and argue, you stop and go and pay your debt. So as far as Nigeria do not manage our debt, we will continue to have service cuts. We won't have access to health. Our education will be in shambles. Our economy will be in deep shit. Everything will be crumbling because we have eaten our cake and we can't have it. And there is no free meal anywhere, even in Freetown. And nobody will love you more than yourself. So you better manage yourself, because any money, my little knowledge of economy is any money you did not spend, you have saved it. So we were borrowing and borrowing to do what? You are borrowing today, you're not thinking about tomorrow. That's how Nigeria, sustainability in our policies is zero. We chopped the future of our children years ago. Some people in position of authority today borrowing and not thinking about future generation. Went to school when they were paying 50 naira. They were eating chicken in the schools. Their clothes were being washed by the school. They give them a voucher. You walk in, voucher if you want to eat 10 times. If you have visitors, they go and eat and come. What has happened? Because Nigeria had our reserve. And like, like one man, they were asking him doing interview, said, sir, what do you have to say? The man said, I comment my reserve. Instead of saying I reserve my comment. Nigeria have commented their reserve when it comes to our reserves, when it comes to money. Foreign reserve. And that's what, how much are we owing in debt? How much do we have? That's what, so everybody looks at you as a Boroboro nation. A country like Nigeria have so much prospect to stand on its own is following people about borrowing money. I think it's a shameful thing.
It's quite worrisome. And we have visa overstay. This is on the Vanguard. Visa overstay. US is still threatening Nigerians with deportation and permanent travel ban, particularly if they overstay, the 3 months that was
They know Nigerians, but I wish anybody who want to try it will think he's in Abuja or in Lagos. Go to America, try it. The Trumpy Trump will make good his threat. It's not like in Nigeria where you say one and then somebody want to run up. If you offend the Trump with his visa ban, you might have anything against him. You can say he doesn't know what he's doing, but if you step across visa ban of Trump, he will make sure all these threats, he fulfill it in your body. So there's no need. That's what is that we say. We only Nigerians, we know that a lot of Nigerians are abroad, and most of our lifeline comes from there. The money that people that are relations living abroad are sending back is what is only thing holding Nigerians here from dying of poverty and hunger. So we are not mindful of that. But we are saying, when you go to Rome, behave like the Romans. If you go to US and Trump is the head of their president, the 47 Pontus, I beg, listen to Trump. Trump doesn't know the smile. Trump had that. So let's go like that. Get the warning to our people so that one day we will say they do this. All those small dollars you guys send back to us in Nigeria will not stop. Just obey, come back, go back. Don't overstay your visa for 3 months for a start. Maybe they'll give you 6 months when you fulfill that. But don't try to stow away, because in America, it's not Nigeria. Yeah. I don't even know the number of their citizens. Once you drop in their airport, your record can start counting. Anywhere you go, you are being followed.
All right, now another headline that appears both on Nigerian Tribune and The Punch is the issue between Adeleke and Aregbesola. Now, Adeleke is saying Osun people have not forgotten your records as governor. This is to Aregbesola. And on The Punch, it says Adeleke attacks Aregbesola over plan to oust governor.
Well, these are two politicians and they're using the Osun people to do their politics. Aregbesola was there as governor for some time. History will write it there. But the dancing one who is there now, the dancing governor Adeleke, she also, this is his own time. So that's what do I expect him to say. But whatever happens is that they're using the Osun people on the pawn of their chessboard. And I think Adeleke should not overrate PDP in that place, because all over now in Nigeria, PDP is on the blinks. So it's like the people say, chop what flies chop, because 90 million of them cannot be wrong. So that's why you find some people looking around to find at least safe haven, because PDP's roof is leaking all over Nigeria. So with Aregbesola and the power of Aregbesola coming back from Abuja with energy and force, it should be watched by Adeleke. But the only thing I say, let all the ordinary people stay away from the point of their guns. When they finish, they settle.
All right, now on The Guardian, we have pay TV struggles as more Nigerians opt for mobile streaming services.
And this is where it affects our own constituency. That is really true. This is the worst time for media, especially direct-to-home broadcast, traditional media in Nigeria. The radio, because of their cost, are managing to survive, but the television are really finding it very, very difficult. Because of the technology that has brought streaming and all those ones who, you find young Nigerians with just a phone, a China phone, is the only thing they require. It will be the mopping up some small content and then smiling to the bank. While big establishments that have structures and staff, area of staff, producing content and are managing, cannot even pay salaries. But I find some young Nigerians who have this in the name of creating content and streaming and all. And then that's where the NBC has to come in, because you will not send a child to go and fetch you a salt and you send the rain against the child. This is where Nigerian Broadcasting Commission and the NCC, two of them have to come in and how to help the market of television, direct-to-home broadcast, and what do you call it, the traditional media in Nigeria, what the social media are doing to them. They should try to get them to survive. Otherwise, they are into extinction. Exactly. They have to do that to help us to still be in this business. Because
all right, so as it is now, we've run out of time. Thank you, Chris Maduka, for your review. It's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Che. It's my pleasure.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.